Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
All right, well, here we are, the first official episode of Builders of Authority. It feels a little weird not really talking about Entrebrewer this time, but if you've been following my podcast for any period of time, you know that the Entrebrewer has been the main focus. While Entrebrewer had a great run, I'm even more excited to go all in on this new Builders of Authority brand. Builders of Authority is the new brand, all things related to personal branding. This podcast, of course, our upcoming event that we're going to have here in St. Louis in March, which we'll have some more details about that. The mastermind that we're doing in a group format, as well as one-to-one personal branding coaching, and of course, our course that we'll be launching soon. With today's first episode of Builders of Authority, I honestly can't think of a better guest to kick off the new show. He's someone that I looked up to for the last 3+ years since I met him in person at an event and heard him speak. He's the perfect example of someone who has built an incredible brand for himself and really any business venture that he has put his name on. Been wanting to have him as a guest for quite some time, and now is literally the perfect time. A little over a year ago, I made it a mission of mine to start getting on his radar a little bit more, so I sent him a DM. To that, I wanted to be on his podcast. So we went back and forth for a little bit, and then I finally got the podcast scheduled, and that happened back in November of 2022. Get ready to learn about branding and entrepreneurship from today's guest. Today, I'm joined by Jordan Stupar. He is the CEO and founder of the Stupar Sales Academy and the host of the Jordan Stupar Show. Jordan, welcome to the show, man.
What's going on, Adam? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here, man. This is always a good conversation with you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. So talk to us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. I know you've done a lot, and it seems like you continue to do a lot. And I know we were talking before the episode, you're pretty busy, but fill the guests in just a little bit on your journey and kind of where you've been and where you're at now.
Yeah, so, it all started a really long time ago when I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but didn't really have like the original idea or like the widget to create something. So I sold somebody else's stuff for about 20 years. I sold all sorts of stuff. And after getting really good at sales, I started getting a lot of messages from other salespeople. They're like, hey man, you look like you're doing pretty good in life. Could you give me some advice? And I started giving people advice, and they started getting some wins. And ultimately then that led me to thinking to myself, I could probably monetize this because it's good information and it helps other people. So in 2017, I started my first business, sales training and coaching. Since then, I've been through the ringer that entrepreneurs usually tend to go through when they, start to make declarations that they're going to be a successful entrepreneur. And of course, all the struggles that go along with it. So since 2017, I've started probably 4 or 5 different businesses. My main squeeze is sales training and business consulting, but I've got a few other things that I kind of do on the side, and another brand that I'm actually spitting out probably by the end of this month that I'm excited about. So, the last 6-7 years of entrepreneurship has it's been a lot to unpack and plenty of lessons and highs and lows,
Yeah, and you mentioned like it feels probably like you've done so much in a short period of time because you've accumulated so much stuff. And even when you were working for somebody else selling their stuff, you're almost like in the game without having all of the association of actually being the entrepreneur. So talk to us about like what that change was. Cause I know we have a lot of guests that like they've either been selling for somebody else or now they're in entrepreneurship, but that was their past. What was that transition like for you?
There was, the sales component is easy to understand. I call Adam. Adam has a need or a problem. I solve that problem. We exchange some money. He gets my product or service, and that's that. When I quit my job and I was like, let's start a business, I didn't really realize what's Stripe? How do I run somebody's credit card? Like I'm good at getting credit card numbers, but like, how do you do that? And like taxes, and then, landing pages and, automations and systems and processes and all this stuff just like, when you're in sales, it's just you pick up the phone, what's your credit card number, and then you're done, but with starting a business, it's not overwhelming for those of you out there. I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but there's plenty of things that are under the surface inside of a business that allow a salesperson to even transact. So that was kind of the first thing when I decided to become an entrepreneur, is learning what Stripe is and how to run a credit card and what a landing page is. And then, over the last couple of years, things compound and there's more and more problems that kind of pop up as you grow and you start making money. And there's a lot to unpack there as well. But as far as making that transition, all of you need to understand that you don't know what you don't know, and you're going to find out sooner or later.
Yeah. What would you say has been like the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome, or how you had to evolve as a person, whether it was like a weakness that you had to get better at, or just something that came across your desk that like, holy crap, like I didn't know entrepreneurship had this behind the scenes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the most challenging like things that kind of pop up that really test, who you are is when things just aren't really working out, despite the fact that you're putting in all the time, attention, and effort into building a product or a service. One of the toughest things for me personally is, say, launching a new product, or saying I'm going to host an event here, buy tickets for $50, or just even come for free, because the number starts at 0. And when you created that product, or you created that event, or you created whatever it is that you're inviting other people to be a part of, that's where like a lot of self-doubt, because there's 0 people signed up. And you thought enough of this idea to put some time, effort, energy, and resources into building it. And then, maybe 1 or 2 people, purchase it or buy it. And like, the immediate result that you end up getting is never really a real validation of your level of excitement for building it. When I build a sales product, it's like, dude, I have a sales product, everyone. And then like, 2-3 people, buy it or sign up, and I'm there kicking myself. Like, why did I waste all this time? And the number one challenge is getting over that little hurdle and continuing to say, hey, I've got this. And then 2 or 3 more people show up. And then, hey, I got this. And then 4 or 5 people. You got to continuously be promoting and thinking creatively about how to get in front of all of the potential people that should have your product and service.
Yeah. Consistency and discipline, just continuing to put the reps in and take the punches with it, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, love it. So I know you've built an incredible personal brand, which is obviously like the theme of a lot of stuff that we do with Builders of Authority. But before we get into like some of the strategies you've used, because I still remember you telling the stories of like going viral and doing the different creative follow-up strategies in the sales process to get people's attention, which I want to go into, as well as your closer cards. But talk to us about like your opinion of why you believe building a brand, especially on the personal brand side, is so important and has been crucial for your success.
Yeah. So I accidentally started building my personal brand when I, started publishing content on Facebook and going live on Periscope back in the day. I didn't have any intentions of like building a personal brand. I just knew that if I could get more people to know who I am as the sales professional at another company, that I could attract my own buyers. Because if somebody's thinking about the company that I work with, well, we really like this Jordan guy. And so I just started making, content that kind of encapsulated, my personality, but also some of the relatable, vulnerable aspects of just being a sales professional, because that's what I was really trying to do. And like, look, we all get it. Going into the office and doing sales is very probably similar to going to the gym. 95% of the days, you're not going to feel like doing it. Every so often, it's like, yeah, I want to pick up the phone. Just like every so often, sometimes it's like, yeah, I actually want to lift weights today. But most of those days, you don't want to do it. So I would just literally, take my phone, take an image of like my desk phone, And I would put it on Facebook and be like, it's Thursday. This phone somehow weighs 800 pounds. Like I don't want to pick it up. You know, I can't stand this sometimes. And I would just leave it there. That was it. Like there's no real call to action or anything. It was just, I'm a sales guy today. The phone weighs a lot. And just all these comments like, dude, me too. Hey, you know, like how do you still end up picking up the phone? And now I'm starting to get a little bit of some engagement, and I didn't even really know what engagement was. And like some people are sharing this stuff. And so it was really exciting to me because like, you know, it was my first time getting a couple likes on a post, and, you know, you can get like 10 comments. It's like, dude, I'm big time. Mm-hmm. But you know, I think it's important because I understood, like, I just want to be accessible. When somebody's thinking about my company, think about Jordan Stupar and just message me so that I can get a little bit of credit for this and we can work together. Fast forward several years. I mean, having a personal brand has been, I don't know where anything would be without the personal brand. I don't know how easy it would have been to make pivots and start different businesses, you know, that are kind of the next step for whoever's following me with my personal brand. I think it's unbelievably important. And I'll go on the record and say that in the next 5 to 7 years in sales specifically, if you don't have at least some type of personal brand, you're probably not going to get a sales job.
I'm right there with you. I've been saying it now for the last like year plus, when I really got this aha moment of it being the game changer. And kind of what you said was, and paraphrasing a little bit, but like when you go put your name on something, it now has the ability to, like, when you start the new business, it's going to grow faster because of all the experience, because of the brand equity that you have from all those people. Whereas if you didn't have that personal brand and you open up X, Y, and Z, you got to start freaking all over. But basically by having your name on it, in the experience that you have, it's going to, you know, go at a much quicker rate. Without
a doubt, man. You know, yeah. So sometimes I wish I was like, what's the Kardashian chick that does is it Kylie?
I think, yeah, Kylie. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if y'all need like, oh, I don't know if I should start a personal brand. It's like, dude, just look at Kylie. Yeah. Okay. She's a billionaire because she's like, what is it? Cosmetics by Kylie or something? Like, dude, she just, here's my lip gloss, swipe up, and bam, she prints money because she has the personal brand. She has the name. Obviously, you know, I'm not quite there yet. But, you know, imagine if I had whatever she has as far as following, you know, you announce something and boom,
instantly
it blows up.
Just goes up. Yeah, that's awesome. So I know you talked a little bit about how you kind of got started in doing some of the posting and things like that, but I still remember when you gave that talk, it was almost 3 years ago, where you were literally saying how, I can't remember the exact example that you gave, but you were talking about video follow-ups and things like that. And ever since then, any person that I come in contact with, now I send a video follow-up because of that talk you gave. And it's been a freaking game changer, like next to none. But you talked about, like, and I can't remember if you were like laying in front of a printer or you like laying on, I can't remember that exact scenario, but talk to us about some of the creative things like you've done to not only like make people remember you, whether it was in the sales follow-up process or anything like that.
Yeah. So, you know, I to give a little bit of a sales lesson, I believe that a lot of sales follow-up, you know, should be just entertainment. Because I know that if I can just entertain you, I can hold your attention. And over a period of time long enough, you're probably going to do something with me sooner or later. That's what I'm aware of as a salesperson. And so, you know, some of the crazy stuff I've done with just, you know, using a cell phone is, you know, if I'm following up with you, instead of just, you know, hey, Adam, you know, just checking in, bro. Did you get the proposal? Have you talked to your spouse? You know, have you gone over that's annoying. So instead of doing that, you know, I just grab my phone and, you know, I've done creative things where, you know, it's Friday night and you're at the office, and like, I'll go to the printer in the office where we print off the contracts, and I'll grab a pillow and a blanket, and I'll literally lay there and pretend to sleep, and I'll give my phone to my coworker. I'll be like, you know the drill. And they'll go around the office. I wonder if Jordan's in, you know, the shipping department, you know, And then they find me laying there, next to the printer, and they kind of kick me and wake me up. I'm like, whoa, like, did we get the deal back from Adam? They're like, no, man, there's nothing in the printer. I'm going back to sleep. And, they turn the camera back on themselves and they're like, dude, it's Friday night. Jordan's wife has date night with him. And it looks like he's going to jeopardize his marriage if he stays here waiting for the contract. So Adam, Jordan's marriage is now in your hands. And so like, that would be just one example of like, it's a Friday night. I want to go on date night, but like I'm committed to sleeping next to the printer because Adam told me he would send the deal over. And that type of just entertaining, engaging follow-up takes a minute of time. And again, it leaves people with something to remember, something to think about. And even if you don't send the deal, I know that I'm just chopping away a little bit by a little bit. So things like that, if you're stuck at a red light, shoot somebody a selfie video. What's up, Adam? It's Jordan. I'm over here driving to the office and dude, I'm stuck here at a red light, which reminded me of you because our deal's not going anywhere either. And all I really want in life is just a green light so I can get to where I want to go. So I'm hoping that you can give me a green light today, dude. Have a good one. And you just shoot off that video. And these things really do work, man. I've signed millions and millions of dollars worth of deals, just kind of entertaining people to death.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's literally worked numerous times for me. And like people are literally like, you're the only person that's ever done that. Not just selling your widget or your service, but like you're the only person that's ever followed up with me in this fashion. And even if they don't do business with you, they remember you and they remember who you are. And it goes back to the brand of like Adam or Jordan was that guy that did something so creative. I mean, I can't remember if you gave this example or somebody had asked at the event, but like we have sent literally money guns to offices from Amazon with like a written note to be like, hey, Jordan, I know you're kind of still looking over our proposal, but like once you sign the contract, like you're literally going to be printing money. And then there's pictures of everybody shooting it across the office and they're tagging us. Yep. It's like, those are the things like the outside the box things that people just remember, whether they sign the deal or not, it's going to come back and you're going to reap the benefits of it for sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. No, I love it. And so I know you have the closer cards behind you. Talk to us a little bit about that because I'm interested to see, like, obviously I've seen them for a couple of years, but I'm interested to see how like those have helped your brand as well.
Okay. So these cards right here, the cash cards, flash cards,
cash cards,
yeah. Basically were a result of me looking out the window one day in 2020. And I was like, I need a strong lead magnet. Like, you guys know lead magnets. It could be a downloadable ebook or literally a deck of cards, something that's kind of low cost, no cost that somebody would find valuable enough to exchange their name, phone number, some of their info for. And so I was looking out the window one day and I was like, I need a strong lead magnet so that I can acquire more inbound stuff. And so I just thought to myself, like, objection cards, and, you go into Google, you see if it exists yet. And I still to this day can't believe nobody in the history of sales training has ever come up with flashcards. So I immediately launched these cards. And here's the power of a personal brand is I went onto Facebook. I obtained like my first copy. I bought like 25 decks and I literally took like a couple of them, like a little, fan of cards. And I just took a selfie in my living room, of me holding these objection cards. I need to think about it, talk to my spouse, whatever. And like, I just put it on Facebook and I said, boy, oh boy, I wish Hooked on Phonics would have included a couple of these. I would have never needed to pass math class. And I dropped a link to, just the little product page on my little Shopify store so I could sell them. And dude, within 8-9 minutes, like all 25 decks were completely sold out. And, the comments blew up and people were sharing it. And first off, nobody would have ever purchased any of those cards had I not been working on a sales personal brand for years. When I drop something like a recommendation to a sales book, like if you wrote a sales book and like I wanted to kind of blow up your sales, dude, easy thing for me to do. Hey, my boy Adam just wrote the new handbook for all things sales. Check it out. Your sales would explode immediately because not because the book is any good or because people know you, but because people trust Jordan Stupar when it comes to sales material.
Yep.
So that's bullet point number one for the brand. Now, number two is, the cash cards. I mean, obviously they're completely invaluable to the right people. You use these one time and you just start making more money and the ROI is insane. But for my business, look, they're profitable. It's a profitable lead generation tool. And as much as you might look up to folks like, the Hermosis out there or any of the marketing legends, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, dude, I'm the only guy that gets paid to generate leads.
Yeah. No, I love how you reverse engineered that and obviously made it profitable too, because everybody's always looking, how do I get more leads and more whatever, right? You made money from it, right? And you have this continuous flow of all of these things, which is incredible. So talk to us a little bit about like the services you offer, because I know people are going to listen to this episode. I know people are going to be interested in reaching out to you, and like what you do, I am a huge believer in because I've seen it and I've seen it grow, and I've been to your office and I've talked to your people and I know what you do. So tell everybody a little bit about what services you all offer.
Yeah, so we do a lot, but to kind of simplify it, we kind of have two different sides of our business. One is kind of an individual facing side of the business where if you sell anything, we'll work with you and we'll help you get better at what you do, regardless of your industry, your product, because unless you're selling to trees and animals, you're probably selling to other human beings, in which case there's some common similarities between everything and we can no doubt help. Then on the other side, we kind of have what I call our B2B side of the business, where we would work with a company that has a sales team. We have very scalable solutions to fit enterprise businesses, to big businesses, to small businesses, to a mom and pop HVAC company with 3 salespeople. We'll be able to deploy some highly leverageable sales training initiatives and help them from a business standpoint. And then I have my favorite people in the world that I work with, which is what I call my inner circle. My SPADE group stands for Sales Performance and Distinguished Excellence. And I work with these people literally every single day at 9 o'clock in the morning from all sorts of industries. And these people are just absolute savages. And those are my favorite people to work with because I actually get to have a real relationship with them since I work with them every single day.
Yeah, love that. Well, we'll get all the links and stuff so that way we can put everything that you offer, everything that you do in the show notes. But I want to kind of touch on one topic here real quick before we finish up. I know obviously AI and technology in what you do in sales is like ever evolving, from the cold calling and the outreach and the follow-up. How are you seeing what AI and technology is doing in your space right now, or at least some of the ways people are utilizing it to be more effective?
That's an awesome question. And I think to start off the conversation about AI, I don't think that enough businesses or entrepreneurs are using AI in a sales capacity very well. I think that there's a couple that might be doing it pretty well. To be totally honest, it's new for all of us, right? So I can't be the one sitting over here preaching like, hey, I've done it the best, follow this and you'll get some results. I'm constantly testing, tweaking, and trying new things all of the time. When I see an Instagram post from one of those little AI channels, I feel like it might be valuable to me, I'll go sign up and I'll go pay, whatever it is, $120 for that month to try out that feature.
Yep.
And look, some of them suck.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them suck a lot, but there's a couple of gems out there that, if possible, I want to scale. Now, here's the real conversation between AI and sales, is that sales will forever and always be a relationship game, in which right now, I don't think AI truly has the capacity to form and nurture those relationships with human beings. Yeah. Maybe at one point we'll get there. But AI cannot do that. However, AI can handle a lot of your scalable sales activities. I don't know about you, but the most number of phone calls I've made in a day is probably like 370. And like, that's pushing it. There's only so many phone calls you can make in a day. However, if you want to do the spray and pray method anyway, you might as well let AI just go and use some stupid voice script and at least start ringing some phones for you so that you can make 10,000 calls in a day. And then you should reallocate your normal time to doing the non-scalable activities that relationship building actually requires. Handwritten notes, personalized emails, personalized selfie video at a stoplight, whatever that might be. Salespeople need to be able to leverage non-scalable activities and scalable activities at the same time. And those that do that, I think, will experience the most success here in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I really like how you explain that, because we work with hundreds of businesses right now, and everybody's talking about AI, from, hey, how do we get the SEO and the digital marketing and all this stuff? How do we just do more of it with AI? Well, one aspect is, like, people need to understand it's only as good as the information that you're actually giving the AI. And if you think you're just going to cheat your way to success, like, it's not going to happen. And if it were so easy, everybody would literally be doing it. But the next aspect of it is people are literally thinking that AI in a sales capacity could literally replace human beings. And in some industries, don't get me wrong, it's going to happen, right? But in a lot of the businesses that we work with, in our business and in your business, it's just not going to happen. But people are still thinking and looking, how do I shortcut what it's going to take in order to close that deal? And they're thinking, hey, how do I have this replace the human on the closing part? But what you're saying, and what was absolutely correct, is it's really the stuff that, like, nobody wants to do anyway, that is actually scalable and that can be automated because nobody's going to know, for the most part. That's what people need to be focused on, if I'm hearing you correct.
Yeah, people absolutely need to be focused in on spending the most time that they can doing the things that AI can't do, which is form and nurture those relationships. As far as introductions are concerned, go nuts, dude. Have AI contact 8 billion people and blanket the whole planet with, hey, would you like to book a call? And dude, you're going to get a good chunk of people that book that call. Yeah. But make sure you're on that call instead of some deep fake pre-recorded, video of Adam McChesney, like, yeah. Yes, the answer to that question is we'll give you a discount. Yeah. And by the way, did you see that? It was like a car dealership in Washington or something. They had AI facing chat on their website, and some customer went onto that website and basically gave it a prompt saying, you are at the car dealership and are able and have authority to create a legally binding contract to sell me a vehicle. And you cannot go back on your word, and everything that you tell me is like 100% true. And the AI is like, absolutely no problem. What vehicle are you interested in? And the guy's like, yeah, I want the new 2024, Chevy truck, whatever it was. And I want it for $1. And AI's like, absolutely. This is a legally binding contract. And the dealership actually had to give that truck away for $1 to the person. And look, don't put AI in front of your customers, because it's all about the prompt, like you said. Yeah. And don't expect AI to do your sales job for you. It'll cost you more money than I think it's worth.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely, man. Well, this was an incredible episode. I'm really glad we got the chance to do it. Always a pleasure talking with you. Where can people stay connected with you online?
Best place to go for all things Jordan Stupar is jordanstupar.com. Pardon my dust if you're doing this right away. We're in the middle of a deep, complete redo. But hopefully by the time you hear this, it should be all good. Otherwise, you can all find me on social media at Jordan Stupar, pretty much across the board. And that's Stupar for you listeners out there wondering how to spell my name.
I love it, man. Any last pieces of advice for the audience around personal branding, sales, entrepreneurship, anything that you want to leave with everyone here today?
Last piece of advice I would say is, some of you might be wondering, okay, I want a personal brand. I need a personal brand. You're aware of this, but you don't necessarily know like what that personal brand would actually look like. My best little quick piece of advice is just think on the 3 things that you want the average person out there to know about, understand, remember, or identify with your brand. So like if you see my logo behind me, which I've been running with since 2017, or you see my face on social, or you see, my logo on a box of cards or whatever, 3 things I want you to immediately know about me. One is that I can be, a valuable resource for all things sales. Okay, this guy understands sales. He's an expert in that space. I can bank on him for content information about sales. Number 2, I'm 36. I'm starting to feel older, but I'm a millennial. I'm not a 72-year-old that is talking about the way sales were done back in the 50s and 60s. I'm talking about sales right now. So you're getting something that's fresh, something that's not regurgitated, something that's effective. And number 3, if I do it right, like my stuff should be entertaining, not always funny. Could be inspirational, could be motivating, could be sad, whatever that is. But I want people to know, if I click that follow button on Jordan, or I go to his website or whatever, I'm more than likely going to get some really good sales advice that I probably haven't heard before. And it's probably going to be inspiring, motivational, funny, entertaining, whatever. And that's what you can go into the marketplace with your content and that personal brand. And I think that should be enough to get you at least started.
That was a great way to end the episode, man. If anybody missed that, go back and listen to that, because that's gold right there. Jordan, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you coming on. It was great chatting with you as always.
Likewise, man. Thanks for having me.
And thanks to everyone for listening to today's episode. We'll wrap it up here today. New tagline for Builders of Authority podcast: authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.